not weak no more. I found the strength of my ancestors deep down in my African core. I used to be frightened. I'm not afraid no more. The Father blessed me with the heart of a lion and a warrior soul. So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail. And no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer them. Tell them no retreat, no surrender. I shall fight till the end of days. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my blade. Fire burn all Satan carrier. Father loose all shackles and chain. This morning first thing as I wake up, King David turn some to the brain. Don't let your courage go down, keep it up. And if your heart rip up and stitch it up, don't let your faith them fall, pick it up. When my cup was empty, God fill it up. Don't take the devil contract, rip it up. And if your bad mind people to go meet it up, pass me the Congo drum and let me beat it up. God on my side, me no give it up. So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail. And no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer them. Thank you, Father. I want to say thank you, Lord. You are everything, Father. Thank you. Father, you alone shall guide me. No man shall lead my path. In the wind I hear your quiet whispers, and you heal my broken heart. Even some of my friends turn enemies, and they pray for right to feel. And remember you gave us your only begotten son, but we gave him the wound of lies. Send down your warriors with the hello. They carry down to the end of days. No matter how the devil try trick me, unto you my soul I will give. Father, I know this time is coming. I can see the high tide raise. Without you there is no other. Could it be that we decide? No weapon that form against I shall not prevail. No man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer them. I am a man, I am a champion, I am a warrior. So who are you to tell me that I cannot make? Who are you to tell me that I am not the greatest thing that God ever created? Yeah!
Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on the various radio stations at 97.5 CitysoundFM, 89.5 CRFM, 91.9 and 91.5 RealFM Radio, 92.9 Cicero Radio broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on the live stream, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or wherever you're joining us from this morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. And with me in studio this morning, I have my co-host, Mr. Roland Bola. Good morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning to you, Ms. Duncan. Good morning to our listeners out there. It's again a pleasure at the beginning of a new week to be with you, to converse, to discuss, to bring information, to listen to information as well, because there are so many of you who are out there, on a daily basis that picks up or finds out or interacts with different individuals that give different perspective on the very genuine issues that confront us. So it's always good to have that dialogue. Being Monday, we normally have a sort of open line policy where we give a very early opportunity to our callers to call in. I do hope that everyone really had an enjoyable weekend. We are heading into a very long weekend upcoming. The next weekend will be Easter weekend. We'll have Good Friday, which is actually the start. There would be it is a public holiday, I believe, if my memory serves me right.
The Friday and the Monday.
And then we have Easter Monday, which is another. So it's a pretty long weekend. I thought from what I've seen over last weekend, there may have been a couple of activities. I've seen a lot of the bikers. I've seen a lot of vehicles. Yesterday in particular, I was on my way to Telescope yesterday afternoon, and the streets up my side, Paradise into Moya, Tivoli, heading on, and I believe it's on to Bathway. I am not absolutely sure because I didn't go up north, but a lot of the vehicles were heading up north, and normally around the Easter holidays, Bathway is a live wire, so I suspected that this is where they were going. And be that as it may, I just want to remind all of us, all of our people, Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Martinique, visitors likewise who are on island. We are doing well and continue to do well as it relates to COVID. We're not doing as good as we'd like to as it relates to the number of people inoculated or being vaccinated. The hope by the health authorities is that by this time, we probably would have had 50% more for our people, or probably a full 100%. I think from the last report that I heard, it was 9,000 plus, and that was nearly a week ago. So I want to believe we probably about 10,000 now.
That's a week. It's about 2 weeks now since they said 9,000.
Okay, so we should be about 10,000 now, hopeful. But listening to authorities from the Ministry of Health, they would have, they would prefer, it would have been a better thing if we were 20,000, 15,000 or so. It's a choice. We continue to encourage people because we believe there's benefit. There are many benefits for us as a country, not only health-wise, but as I've said before, economically and otherwise. And we'll get a little bit into that in our discussion today. But be that as it may, I hope that everyone had a really enjoyable, peaceful, restful in some ways, productive for others. And productivity would mean different things to different people, not necessarily going to the job place and, getting things done, but productive in your own way, whatever it is you wanted to achieve over the weekend. Maybe it might have been a productive weekend for you because you got the amount of rest you were looking forward to getting. Whatever the case may be, I hope you are in good health today. And join us, please. Send a comment, give a call. Let us know what you're thinking on the issues that we will be discussing today. Carriacou, Petit Martinique, I hope you are up, you're well, you're ready, and you are joining in. All those who are part and parcel of it. Let your neighbor know, let your friend know, encourage them to tune in, to listen, and more importantly, to participate. Good morning, Grenada.
Well, that was a very interesting good morning.
Yes, it was. It was kind of lengthy because we had 2 days that we were out of commission with them, Saturday and Sunday. So I just want to know I'm rejuvenated. I'm in a good mood. It's the first official working day of the week, not the first day of the week that I'm working.
And it's also the last Monday in March. It's almost April, You can see how
but it's not yet.
How quickly it is that the months are going by.
I don't know if it's going quickly. Sometimes when we don't work as tedious as we should, we'll find that time goes by quickly. But maybe time is running as it normally does, or maybe as it should. We probably just need to plan better and utilize our time wiser. And when I say we, I talk all of us. If you are already a productive individual, you can become a little more productive. And for those of us who are not as productive as we should be, we need to start trimming the edges where wastages occur and get to it. Get mainstream. And
absolutely. So, guys, it's Monday. It's the last Monday of March, and someone said to me this morning, today was the day when we went on full lockdown. when curfew was from 7 to 7. Who remembers those times?
A lot of people don't. I did not remember it.
Well, I didn't. I had to work, so for
there are a
me
lot of people. There are a lot of people who would remember.
Who would remember today, 29th of March, was the day when curfew began from 7 to 7. You know, and for a lot of people, that was a breaking point, because there are a lot of people in our country who still have not yet recovered from that hit. You know, people who have not yet restarted work, people who have not since that time had an income, people who are still battling with the effects of, you know, that decision. So and this is going to bring us straight into the conversation that we are going to have this morning. And I really, really want to hear from the general public, because, Mr. Bola, you and I sit here often. We give our opinions, we dish out facts and so on. But it's always better when we can converse with the outside, with the people outside, get an idea of the different perspectives and how they're thinking and what they think about certain things that are going on. And, you know, this weekend, my heart was a bit heavy. Because of a statement that I heard in the news. And it took me time to really gather my thoughts and to really mention this statement. And I think I've mentioned it to you on Friday. And it really made me heavy, because it shows how selfish we can think, not be. I don't think anybody intentionally wants to be selfish, but sometimes in our thoughts and our actions we come across very selfishly. The incoming leader of the president, let me address him properly, the incoming president of the Public Workers Union, in an interview on, I don't remember the day of the week, made a statement in quoting the Constitution in regards to the 4% that government has signed to for public workers. And he said that the Constitution states that public workers must be given first preference. So when we see things like the purchase of traffic lights, or we see things like the government loaning $1 million to the airport to keep them afloat, that I'm hoping that is not what he was trying to insinuate, that government must first give preference to public workers before it decides to assist anybody else. And I would hate to think that is what the gentleman meant in saying that, honestly. But that is how it came across to me, Mr. Bola.
But is that what he said?
That's what he said.
Well, if he said that, that is what he said. Now, you can sit here or anywhere else and make assumptions of what you thought he meant. Mm-hmm. Others will see differently, but if he said ABC is what he said.
It's what he said.
Right? And of course, I would hope that he quoted the section of the Constitution.
No, he didn't.
That spoke. Well, he didn't. So I think we have a responsibility. Now, I don't want to say that he was wrong in saying that. I did not hear the statement myself. Mm-hmm. But what I can say is that I have never seen or remember seeing anything like that in the Constitution. So our responsibility as people who try to bring facts to the nation is to get the Constitution, go through it thoroughly again, mm-hmm. and see which section in the Constitution, where in the Constitution such is stated.
And if anybody out there knows,
yes, they can. Right. So that's one. So I am neither here nor there. I'm not saying he's correct or incorrect, but being presumptuous, let us presume that he is correct with that statement, because in the Constitution that was stated. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that government is doing presently that makes me believe, and I hope that I will have concurrence with that the public servants are not getting the first preference. Right. Because as far as I know, public servants are receiving their salary on a timely basis every month.
Yeah.
Right? And if it was a case where government was refusing to pay public servants,
right,
and they were utilizing the funding that they have, the monies that they have to do other things, then I will say that he was right. The new president of the Public Workers Union was right in his context of saying that the government was not giving priority to the public servants.
Right.
There can be arguments that there are several other things that government have to do or are neglecting to do or are unable to do. I don't know which is correct to say, as it relates to public servants and the service that they provide.
Right.
And all of those can be examined and contextualized and determine and also prioritize which can come first. But when you have a situation, and I've always said, when you look isolatedly at the case that the unions are bringing forward, that government has a contractual arrangement with them for a 4% increase, which needed to have taken effect in January of 2021. I agree with the public servants and the union that there is a contractual arrangement, that there is an arrangement signed by the government negotiating team that the cabinet of this country agreed to, that they were going to give salary increases to public servants over a 3-year period that will amount to 12% plus, 4% in 2020 January 2021 4%, and January 2022 another 4%. Of course, we all know, and if it's not yet public knowledge, the public should know, that January of 2021, the same year that COVID came, but around March we started experiencing the symptoms, the government did live up to its contractual arrangement and paid and implemented the 4% to all the public servants that were supposed to receive it.
Right.
We are aware of what happened during 2020 for March. In fact, today, as someone reminded you this morning, is 1 year exact since we had the first lockdown in the country, where everything went on standstill.
Yeah.
At that time, even though many, 95% of the public servants were not working, were not doing anything, and the country was not collecting any revenue at all at this time, at the end of the month, March of 2020, public servants received their pay, inclusive of the 4% increase in 2020.
Absolutely.
Right? And for the many weeks after that several and many others did not attend work, they continue to receive their salary up until today.
Yeah.
So my point here is, and I've said that before on this very program, the unions have a responsibility to their members, to the people who they represent. The government, on the other hand, have a responsibility to the same people that the union represent through their union and every other individual in this country.
Yeah.
Right? So the rules are different. The government rule far outweighs, has a lot more people, has a lot more issues to deal with. Because not only the human factor in terms of providing wages and salary is what the government... Look, right now, they are about, if they have not started receiving yet, to receive in excess of $1 million worth of furnitures for schools.
But
whether it all schools are just a significant amount, I don't know, but furnitures, because it has become necessary due to COVID that you have to do the spacing and the social distancing, or physical distancing as some people call it. So whereas before the classroom was much more cluttered and you may have 2 students sharing one desk with 2 chairs, it now comes down to the point where every child needs to have the individual desk and chair.
Yep.
So that necessitates that the government now finds the money, not the union, not the teachers, not an ordinary public servant on their own. And one may want to argue, well, it is because of the taxes that we pay. Sure. But don't you imagine that the more people that are working is the more taxes that the government will collect?
Yeah.
The government did indicate that revenue collection had dropped at one time by 60%.
Yeah.
It has been improving, it has increased, it has been getting better, and the government has said, as soon as we get to that place where we cannot just only implement, but we can also sustain to make sure every single month you get that increase that is due to you. And there has never been a time when I heard any person within government, any minister or the prime minister or the minister of finance denying the fact, or the leader of government's negotiating team, I've never heard them deny the fact that yes, the public servants are entitled to and are deserving of the 4% increase. What has been said time and time again is that at this time in the country, we are unable to, one, implement and secondly, sustain. And that we are ready to negotiate, to discuss, to openly show government books, to show our revenue collection, to show where we are periodically, at least every quarter. And as soon as we are at that place where we are comfortable with our ability then to implement and sustain, we will.
Yeah.
So that is sad. But it is also very important to discuss the fact that the unions, if that is the case from what was said by the president, is taking issue with the fact that government is helping other workers.
And
I mean, this is the trade union, you know.
Yeah,
this is about labor. This is about the possibility of people going home. Now, I understand, from my understanding, that flight arrival at the airport has dropped by about 70% from pre-COVID time. So once you have a reduction, it means that you have a reduction in revenue collection.
Absolutely.
My understanding is also that the airport is collecting less than 50% of what it normally would collect in terms of revenue, because you have less flights, so less landing fees and all other fees that the flight will pay, less passengers going in and out, so whatever charges these passengers have to pay to use the facility in and out, that has been reduced significantly. So the airport effectively is in a position now where they can go on lockdown due to the lack of revenue to continue the operations.
And once our airport closed, and I think people don't understand, the airport is not just about tourists visiting and us leaving to go to other places. Once the airport has shut down, then our country basically is closed, you know.
Of course, because this is our gateway to the rest of the world, not only for passengers, the produce, the fishermen who do the long line fishing, bringing in all of the tuna and what have you, that is being exported by the several exporters. With a close down of the airport, that is nil. That no more happens. Our source, which we call green gold now in Grenada, as we refer to our nutmeg as black gold, they would remain here because it is the aircraft that bring them out all the time. Even our nutmegs, our cocoa, certain quantities of it are shipped out by airlines. What about the imports? We continue to clamor about there should be the growth of more local chickens. Of course, we don't have a hatchery here. We don't do baby chicks here. They come in by the airlines. You know, day old chicks that our farmers then take to the farm so that they can grow for us to get more local chicken.
And they fail to realize as well. And I don't think it's a failure to realize. I think it's just a misrepresentation of facts so that they can mislead the public. And that's generally how I feel about it. Just a misrepresentation of facts so that they can mislead the public. They fail to do that because, Mr. Bola, if the airport shuts down and all of these things that we have mentioned cease to exist, more than 50% of the public servants that now clamor about the 4% will be clamoring for more than 4%, you know.
Of course. What about the vaccines that comes in by air? What about the PPPs? What about the tests, the PCR tests? All of those things are flown in. What about other medication?
Exactly.
Not just the vaccine. Other medication for all the other ailments that we have.
Emergency
the diabetic,
flights.
those who suffer from hypertension, heart disease, the renal failure, all of these things, the airlines who bring them in, the airport is the gateway to collect, the airport is the gateway to send out. So the government has to not only concentrate on the public servant, who is very important, but to assist the other sectors. So you have the taxi drivers, for example, who have been out of income, out of bread, out of a source since March of 2020 when we went on the first lockdown. All of our hotels effectively are closed. No people, no tourists, no visitors at them, save and except the couple that are operating as quarantine centers.
Right.
And even those, they are never at capacity. A couple of people at a time. Yes? Directly into the hotel sector, 2,500 employees have been sent home. Indirectly, when you think about the farmers who sell to these hotels and restaurants, you look at the taxi drivers who ply the route, you look at the vendors who sell other things like paintings and other craft and so. In effect, it's over 5,000 people that has been affected directly by the tourist trade.
Yeah.
These people are home. They have been home for 12 consecutive months with absolutely no income. In the beginning, for about 3 months, I think, government provided some payroll support. But government in and of itself cannot continue to do that forever. Because you are clamoring on the other side, I want my increase.
But not just here, Mr. Bola. Just recently in our neighboring Trinidad and Tobago, the Prime Minister has made it very clear to the people of Trinidad that if they see activities that have caused them to be in the position that they are in now happen in the upcoming weekend and they have to go on lockdown, let it be known that Trinidad and Tobago does not have the resources to provide any support whatsoever to the tens of thousands of individuals who have been receiving it. And that's Trinidad and Tobago, who is said to be more advanced and more ahead and more modern than Grenada.
But not just Trinidad and Tobago, they said it in St. Lucia, the Prime Minister, the government of Antigua said it.
Of course.
I mean, Grenada is the only place in the sub-region that I know of this moment. If there are others and people out there know that, please call, send us a message and let us know. Grenada is the only country in the sub-region that I know presently where we have this fight for salary increase.
Well, I think it's only in the world, you know.
Well, I didn't want to go as far as the world. I want to say in the sub-region. And listen, I don't make fun of it when I say it, because I do honestly believe that the public servants deserve it. But I also believe that the government will be true to its word when they say to the public servants, give us a little time, give us a break, and then we will honor it.
Yeah.
Because I know that the government have honored before, and I believe the government will honor again.
Yeah. It's a very, very sad situation, Mr. Bola, but I'd like to hear from the public because, to be honest, I see it as black and white. I understand it black and white, meaning that I could see why the government is doing what they are doing. I could see how many other people will be affected, because at the end of the day, if we continue along these lines and government has a hard decision to make, the same general public that is clamoring for give them people their money will be the same people that will be affected.
And you know, some people say that without even having an understanding of why they're saying it. Because what they learn and what they understand is like the government have that money and have it there
and doesn't want to
and
give
just
it.
Doesn't want to give. Many other people are saying, give them the money, don't even understand that their son or their daughter, their niece or nephew, their grandchild who works with the airport, whether it is with ASG or with one of the, is a flight attendant or works directly with the airport authority, will be out of pocket and out of a job if the government doesn't come to the aid by loaning them that $1 million a monthly, right? They don't understand that. And if the government have it to help these people, where will they get it? Because you keep saying, well, if you could give them, give me.
And you who are sure that at the end of the month or for the next 12 months that you will be receiving a salary.
Well, I don't want to say for the next 12 months.
Well, let's hope.
I don't want to say that. You know why I don't want to say that? As it is now, the government is able and is doing everything possible to keep that happening. At the same time, the government is looking for every avenue to create more opportunities for the unemployed. Because, you know, like we see the amount of work that is happening in terms of public sector projects. We see several schools I think it's 52 schools around the island. A lot of work has started on many of them in terms of repair, 100,000, 200,000 and so, because opportunities are to be created for other people who don't have anything to go by in such a difficult time, in this pandemic time, and the government are looking at other things. We are getting vaccines. In fact, I understand there are 2 other vaccine, different brands that we are expecting
Sinopharm and Sputnik.
And Sputnik. So for those who have been saying, well, why can't we have others? We will. And I know that the Ministry of Health and the officials who have been tasked with that responsibility have been negotiating and trying to see how much more and what more they can get. I know that the US ones that they're using, it's a little bit difficult for them.
Because of storage.
Because, stock is one and storage is the next thing, because the US has been utilizing so much on a daily basis. As a matter of fact, I think the US is moving to also start to use AstraZeneca.
Yes.
Because
from May, April, May, I believe. Right,
because they supply. They have 3 made in the US. The Pfizer,
Johnson and Johnson, the Moderna
and the Johnson and Johnson, right? But they are not able to supply
for
their own local consumption, that they have to know that they are thinking or considering or probably have made the arrangement to bring in AstraZeneca from London or from India, wherever they're producing, because they produce in India, they produce in Korea, and of course, but the parent company is out of London, right? So we are seeing that, but the government is trying. All of those things come with a cost.
Yeah, they do.
And they're doing it. The hospital had to be retrofitted, and they're, and we must not forget the fact that it is not just COVID, but all the other ailments still remain, and government still has to make sure that they provide for them and provide for the people who takes care of those who are unwell, those who are sick, those who have, So I think let us be reasonable people. And so for those of us who don't understand the whole scenario, and we sometimes jump to say, well, just give them people their money and forget that. It is not that simple.
It's not that simple.
I mean, government wants to, As a matter of fact, the government has clearly said it is not in our interest. It is not going to benefit us anything or any way not to pay. In fact, what it is doing, it is making it more difficult down the line for the government. Because remember, come 2022, government has to implement another 4%, Not just this 4% that they can pay in 2021. Come 2022, they have to pay another 4% again. So it is extremely difficult, and it is not what the government really wants to do. But they have no choice. They have so much other sectors to look at. I mean, look, Trinidad and Tobago right there. And half of the primary schools or the primary school students are not yet back in school. Mm-hmm. Those, I think, from standard 4 or what we call it now. I don't think they use the word standard. Grade 5. They're not yet back in school, right? They are struggling. Just in the last 24 hours, they got 23 or 24 new cases.
Yeah.
Over 200 people are still active. So sometimes when I hear our people here saying, oh, well, what are we worrying about? We don't have COVID. Look at where Trinidad is. From us. We still trade with them. Right? And then I heard somebody recently in a post saying, well, what government have to concentrate on is to block up all the loopholes. I mean, think about the amount of bays and inlets and curves and that we have in Grenada. Where are we getting the resources to secure all of that? And then still secure you, because you don't have no behavior.
Exactly.
You're always into confrontation. The police have to keep running up, down, and across, and all sorts of other things. I mean, they are stretched thin. They are doing an extremely good job to keep us as safe as they are doing. And we need to commend them for that. So I think sometimes we have to act with a little bit more reasoning and stop allowing politics to cloud our judgment and obscure our sight. Sit down. Wipe away the politics from your face. Forget whether you support NNP or NDC or GLP or Tobias Clement or whoever. Forget that. Put that aside and look at the real issue that is facing your country at this time. This is where we live. This is our homeland, you know. This is our homeland, not Roland Bola homeland, not Keith Mitchell homeland. Our homeland, all Grenadian homeland. And all of us have a responsibility and a part to play in ensuring that it remains safe, it remains secure, that the future for our children is well paved with good intentions and good works.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't mean if you do that and you play your part that you are automatically a supporter of the NNP. Absolutely not. If NNP is not your choice, that is your right. But what is also right for the country, don't play games with it. Don't start behaving that because you don't support or you don't like or you're not a member of, that even if something is not good enough, you will go there and say, oh, because it is NNP that is in office. That's just not the correct thing to do.
It's not.
So, friends, I mean, come on, let's look at this thing again.
And I know you're very passionate about it. I hear it in the way you speak, Mr. Bola, because you understand, especially after being a parliamentarian for so many years, you understand the struggles on the ground from the people. You understand how many people depend on the social programs. You understand what it is like for a young mother, and you know, to get that seed money, and she feels so good about it because she needs it. So you see what will happen. You have foresight into what will occur if government decides, listen, and I mean, this is not going to happen. Let's be realistic and let's just accept it for what it is now. It's not going to happen because I do not see government saying, okay, we have over 2,000 public servants and they're on strike and so on, so we're just going to give them the money, and the rest of the tens of thousands of Grenadians who depend on us socially, we're going to forget them. I don't see that happening. It's not going to happen. So it's about time that we start looking at this thing realistically and for what it is. But you see how those people will be effective. You have foresight into understanding what the repercussions of this is going to be.
It's not just foresight, you know, Ms. Duncan. It's not just foresight. It's happening in our sight every single day.
Yeah.
We move around. And government get blamed every single day.
Yeah.
That they need to do more. They need to help more. They need to look into this issue. They need to look into that issue. And of course, the government is listening and they are attempting. But the government don't print money. They don't just push their hand down a barrel and pick up money. Or they don't have money under the mattress, like we hear the foolish talk sometimes, under the mattress where you get it to pay WRB, go there, you won't get to pay the public servant. I mean, all this sometimes we kicks and we make a little joke and so. But let's get serious. Let's get real. This thing has been perpetuated for months now, right? And I think the time has come when, as big people with good academics, we need to stop and really look at this thing from the standpoint where it makes sense for all of us as Grenadians.
Absolutely. We have a call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad, Miss Duncan.
All
and
right.
Mr. Bola.
How are you, sir? Good morning to you.
Yes.
I hope you had a blessed weekend.
Yes. I hope the same to you. I hope you are the same. Well, there is not much I can say, but I just want to echo what you and Miss Duncan, as it were, have been saying all along. And I just want to continue to appeal to our teachers and public officers to have some consideration, to be more considerate, to be more sensitive, and to demonstrate to us and to our children and grandchildren that they have the capacity to reason.
Yeah.
I cannot for the life of me understand how could the teachers and the public officers, and most of all, and maybe worst of all, and some opposition political party, especially the main opposition political party, trying to... Oh my goodness, my little grandchild, just hold on.
That's okay, go ahead.
That one will be an announcer, you know.
Yes.
He or she always.
Sorry, my little grandchild.
Yeah, telling you that one will be an announcer because every time you're on the phone, he wants to talk.
yes. You know, and trying to piggyback or trying to make political mileage out of the present situation. And it tells me, firstly, it says to me, I don't know how others might be looking at it, the either insincerity or the incapability of the leadership of the main opposition party. That is the NDC, of course.
Yeah.
Because if they were in a situation like we are in now, and I want to say with the country, would they have been able to pay? No. Well, it was demonstrated clearly during the period 2010,
2008 to 13.
from the period 2010.
2008.
They entered into negotiations with the public officers and teachers, and they were paid later.
Yeah.
Because the country at the time could not afford to pay, and the public officers and the teachers then agreed, right? And they were paid later. They agreed to be paid later. So the government is now asking for a deferral, meaning that they will be paid later, as some go about saying, and maybe conveniently so, that like if the government decides they are not paying, and as you all rightly said, like there is the money set aside there, and they just refusing to pay, or it's like the money coming out from the politicians' pocket, and they don't want to pay them. This is far from the truth. This is not the truth. The situation, the truth is that the country at this point in time does not have the economic activities, right? Does not have the income-generating activities, revenue-generating activities to bring in that money at a sustained level, to bring in how much? $13.2 million. $13.3 million on a monthly basis.
Per month.
I mean,
per month.
Yeah, so that is the reality of the situation. So I don't know how else we could explain this. This has been explained by both of you on the program, and other people would have been explaining that. But all it takes is for the if the public officers and the teachers and the opposition politicians do not believe, they have a right to have access to the information.
Well, more than that, brother, it's saying they have a right. That was promised to them, eh?
Yes.
The negotiating team for government for salary increases and so have said to them, listen, we cannot give you a date at this time. What we can do for you is quarterly, and I think at the end of this month is one of the first reviews.
I think so.
Do putting together of the information, all the collection, the expenditure, what have you. Let's sit down, let's go through it.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to accept what we tell you. You don't have to take our analysis.
Yeah.
You can get your own independent accountants or economists or analysts, whatever they may be. Give them the figures, they do the analytic review of it, and let's come together.
Yeah.
If we can't pay then yet, let's go another 3 months and we'll do a similar thing. But as soon as we recognize that we are in a better position where we can pay and sustain the payment, we will implement.
Well, it is in the interest of the government, it is in the interest of the ruling party to pay as soon as they can.
As soon as possible.
If it was possible to pay when the time failed you, that would have been done a long time ago.
But January? It would have been implemented in January?
Yes. So as you rightly said, amid COVID last year, they were paid the first 4% of what was agreed upon over a 3-year period. So what is the argument? So when they're talking about mistrust, not being able to trust, and I question... Wow. Yeah, I question, what are they really talking about? Are they really sincere themselves? So while you're accusing others of not being sincere or truthful and you cannot trust, then where is the evidence to back up that?
Yeah.
And so on. So I don't know. I would continue to appeal to these people to let good sense prevail, and to rethink the position.
Yes.
To rethink the position. This is about the country. This is not about you trying to hurt the politicians and trying to hurt whoever. Well, I know for a fact that the main opposition party has ulterior motives. I'm not questioning that. But do the public officers and teachers have similar motives? I shouldn't think so. But so let's let good sense prevail. And let us look at the reality of the situation. They are old enough, they are sensible enough, they should be at a level to understand that nobody's trying to tamfool you or hate you, don't like you, don't want to pay you. It's because the country at this point in time just cannot afford to pay, and so on. Because last week I heard one of the... Hello?
Yeah,
we're there.
One of the NDC operative, one of the spokespersons on the radio. And a lot of the things that he said, might sound like music, euphonious to the ears of a lot of people. But in terms of how are they going to achieve those things? Because a lot of the time we're sitting, and we're just talking about where the resources will be coming from to support what we're talking about, right?
Yes.
What we are proposing to make it a reality and so on. And we go about making accusations as usual. Allegations, accusations, things that were brought up many years ago, many elections ago, and they had absolutely no effect. The effect that they thought it might have had didn't have at all. But yet, they continue in the same vein. Yeah. But he went on to make an appeal to opposition forces, not just locally, but abroad, because he realized that the NDC by itself, it might almost be an impossibility to defeat the NNP. So he's calling on other opposition forces to team up to get Dr. Mitchell and the NNP out of office. Oh, wow. And he spoke, I get the impression that, well, it's like election was held, the very first time elections were held, led by the NNP, Dr. Mitchell, and when he got into office, well, there was no elections after that. Mm-hmm. But as far as I know, that elections are held, free and fair elections are held every year, every 5 years.
Every 5 years.
Every 5 years.
Yes.
And the people, we are the people who make the decision, the choice in terms of who we want to elect. From those who would have offered themselves, who we want to elect into office. So when they go about giving the impression that, and you're blaming the electoral office or system, and that's another thing, That's another thing I have to talk about, because when it's convenient, they praise public officers. And when it's not convenient, they blame, they accuse public officers. All of that. No consistency, in position, no kind of consistency, But as I said, I really do hope that our people would understand the situation, the difficult situation in which we are. Well, I need not to mention the other islands, and Trinidad and Tobago among them might be about in the best position, financially would have been in the best position. But even their resources would have been exhausted. So that's why the government has been sending a clear message to the populace, right? That they will not be able to support certain programs as they were doing in the past. So it's a difficult situation for all of us.
But look, talking about resources and that, the government of Trinidad and Tobago wrote to and negotiated with the government of India, where you have one of the biggest pharmaceutical factories and companies making the AstraZeneca virus. For assistance, the government of India has now promised to provide them with 40,000 AstraZeneca vaccine for free. That is Trinidad and Tobago. Okay. Likewise, the government of China with the Sinopharm. They're going to give them 100,000 doses for free. Because again, they recognize our resources are running out. Because it's extremely difficult. I know they have been trying to prepare the places for storage of the Madonna and the other one, those that you have to freeze sub-zero. And that is why we are in Grenada can't push too much for that because we don't have the capacity to store. Right? So even somebody people are saying, well, why you don't get this and why you don't get that? Yes. But what do you do with it? And as I've explained earlier on, even the US where it's made, they're struggling to have a consistent supply.
That and that is what our people sometimes fail to understand. We have to be able to understand the situation. It's not just talking and say why you don't get this, why you don't get that, or why you don't do this or do that. Let's examine the feasibility in terms of, is it possible? Is it doable? Can we get it and so on? But I thought even India had the challenge in terms of the spread of the same COVID-19.
Yes, well, they had stopped shipping for a while.
They had to at one time hold up with shipping. But they're now in a position. Well, not now, but I guess from time to time.
They're a huge company.
Very huge. Well, the parent company is really out of London. But they have the largest manufacturing plant is in India. India because they also manufacture in Korea.
South Korea.
Korea. They do and England. So is it
England, so they have at least 3 places. Most of what we have been getting in the region, I think, so far is coming out of England. But it just tells you that there must be collaboration.
There must be.
Not just at the country level, but also internationally. And why can't our people here in Grenada respect that and understand that you just need to collaborate? Work with government for a while.
Exactly.
Down the line, if things did not go as they planned, and there is no good rationale why, then you could go ahead and take all your protest action and say, well, you lied to us, or you gave us that, you know?
You know, and especially, so they're talking about some of the projects that the government is spending on. But, you know, the disappointing thing was when Mr. Roberts, the spokesperson for the NDC last week, was talking about things are going on as normal, nothing, no big deal. Things are happening as normal spending. Can you imagine this? When much spending is taking place as usual, as normal, amid COVID-19, amid the government, drastic reduction in the collection of revenue and all of that. Things are happening as normal.
Well, you see, the thing is, they don't understand what a government revenue is supposed to look like, because when they were in office, they basically were running at a deficit of 108.
Well,
108%.
27 million short.
Deficit
every month.
Recurrent
every month. So they don't
Yeah.
understand what it's supposed to look like. They should be the last people talking about what government should spend on and how government should manage their funds, because they themselves don't know how to do it. It's like the blind trying to give people who can see direction.
Well, the government may have one eye, but they're totally blind.
Exactly.
When it comes to that.
But then again, what if we're talking honesty and truthfulness? We have to be real here. You know, when I hear people criticizing the proposed investment for the improvement of the international airport, the only gateway to the world, to and from to Grenada, right, and so on. And I cannot understand how people are asking to put this on hold. So what if the airport become unsafe and airlines decide countries that they're not going to fly into?
Well, no, you have the international regulatory people who will downgrade you.
Yeah, minimum.
I mean, remember, not too long ago, the very huge ones in them, like BWI and so, stopped coming for a couple of weeks or months because
we had that incident.
Where they were supposed to have a piece of equipment that wasn't there, and we got downgraded. And as a result of that, bigger airlines couldn't fly in until we put that in place. So, I mean, there's so many examples there for us to look at if we are very objective in what we want to do. And like I say for a while, put the politics aside. An election is going to come at some point in time, and you will have the opportunity to vote for whoever you wish, whoever you like. That is your right. I will appeal to you to vote for the best party, which in my opinion is the NNP, but it is your right to vote for who you want. So when that time comes, you do what you're supposed to do. But for now, what is important? How can we keep this little island that we love so much, that we call our home, how can we keep it afloat and do what is best for it?
You know, because sometimes we violate rules, whatever. Well, even I myself, I was looking at a small goal competition tournament organized by Sport and sponsored by GFA last night.
In Rosehill?
Rosehill, It was a nice out.
Small goal.
Sometimes the protocol would always, people don't always observe the protocol. But no, also 2 weekends back, the teachers had the protest the Friday evening, and then the night they were at a spot in Sotes, and they said there's no COVID, man. Everybody were,
Yes.
That is the kind of sometimes irresponsible behavior that we display.
Of course, but not only that, I heard that over this weekend in the Lance in Guelph, that the place was like carnival-like activities, nobody wearing their mask and so on. And I tend to wonder sometimes, is this a fight for who could be more defiant? Who could be more defiant? Can the teachers go and jump up and not wear masks and say that they don't apologize for not wearing masks, they apologize for not going where they're supposed to go? Or is it that, well, we see the teachers do that and they ain't do them nothing, so we're going to do that too? It's a fight for who can be more defiant, and that is a very dangerous game to play.
I mean, that would be a chaotic situation. That would be, a kind of jungle, a lawless situation. That would be anarchy. We don't want, as I said, and the people who we expect to be leading our children, our grandchildren,
of course,
leading the nation, we don't expect to see this kind of behavior, this kind of display, and this kind of pronouncement coming from them. When we do that, then when things turn into a topsy-turvy, then we turn around and we blame government and politicians and everybody else except ourselves. Sometimes we don't live up to our responsibility. It's like we have no responsibility, and we play the blame game. We always look for some fall guy or something, Come on.
And you know, it's very disappointing. I looked at the leader, the outgoing president of the Teachers Union, when there was an announcement made that then an apology was given, and he took to the television making a statement about they didn't apologize for not wearing masks and for the gathering, but they apologized for going outside of the designated route. And I said, look at the backwardness in this statement.
Can you imagine?
You went all the way on TV to let the general public know that you do not care about the rules and regulations of the country of the state of Grenada. I mean, it was very backward and ridiculous.
Can you imagine? So when you come and the posturing like that, it's just like one of the one of the opposition spokesperson. I think in fact she's the PRO. And sometimes, I mean, all of us are made in God's own image and likeness. But you know, sometimes the kind of posture. She has a sort of repelling posture. The first thing you would see is her tongue because she's ready to tear somebody apart. This kind of cantankerous kind of, you know. And so and I look at that and I'm taken aback of it. I say, look at this lady. If I was a young person, young elector, and looking for somebody to support, could I support something or somebody like that? You know, all of that people have to sit and analyze situation. The first thing, because our tongue's supposed to be inside of our mouth, and when the first thing you see for an individual is their tongue, is that she's ready to tear somebody. Oh my goodness. Anyway, Mrs. Duncan, Mr. Bola, you all are doing a very fine job, and I like the mature way in which you all analyze the situation, right? And it's not that, and you all receive or accept any call.
Yes.
For or against, it doesn't matter, because you all are there to share information and to explain and to help people to understand, to help us to understand. So I really do appreciate what you all are doing, and I will just want to advise that you continue the good work. Okay?
Thank you.
Well, we thank you so much for your contribution. As per usual, well in place, well analyzed. And you take care, enjoy the rest of your day. And hey, that little one, man, get the man his phone. Get the man his own phone so he could give us a call, man.
Okay, yes, okay.
All right.
Yeah, bye.
Take care.
All right, guys, and the lines are open. That was a very lengthy call, but of course very forceful, a lot of information. The lines are open, guys. The number to call is 440-7377 if you're calling locally. If you're in the diaspora and you want to give us a call, it's 3473-293101. We also receive messages and so on via WhatsApp and of course via the live stream. I want to read a few comments from the live stream. It says, good morning, very important point. When the NDC was in power and they couldn't pay at the time, it was referred to a later date. Why the unions didn't jump up and make noise? No, they sit back and take it easy. That's why I see this as bare politics. We have a call coming in. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Miss Duncan.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning to Mr. Bowler.
Good morning to you, sir. A rare voice, but one that is always, very powerful when we hear it.
Yes.
Well, to be honest with you, Mr. Bowler, I have got so much, comments and feedback from people who seems to be wondering what's wrong with me. But I was thinking that as the government and as a supporter of the government, we are so far ahead and they have done things so well that I don't even see the need to come and defend the government. And most of all, there is no need to beat up on a dead horse.
Well, that's absolutely true. I oftentimes say something similar. I say when a man strikes you and you strike him back, it seems to be fear. But when you have someone in a coma who may hit you unknowingly because, they're between, life and death kind of situation, and you strike them back, I think that is advantage. So I do agree with you.
Yes, but it seems to me that there are some in the public service that believe they could give back, they could give life. But when a horse is dead, there is no miracle in it.
Yes.
Now, let me go straight to the point. And like the last gentleman said, I like your fairness and your maturity. But maybe I'm not quite there yet, so forgive me if... Now, Mr. Bola and Ms. Duncan, yes, public servants, including the teachers, deserve the 4%. But listen to this carefully. We have been dealing with an international crisis that is the worst we have seen in our time. To date, we have done extremely well as a country and a people. But revenue is down, unemployment is up, and our social programs is needed now more than before to assist the less fortunate and those who are poor and vulnerable. Mr. Bola, Miss Duncan, for working people that continue to receive their salaries and time, for them to tell the government, we want our 4% and we want it now, it's a form of extortion that's unacceptable, and the government should not bow nor capitulate. These are working people that want more, while we have people who are unemployed and they don't have nothing at all. The government position is clear, and to date, the masses is in agreement with the government, and that is, you will get your 4%, but not now. End of story. I rest my case.
And a very well put together case that is.
I trust you all will have a pleasant day.
You as well, my brother. Take good care of yourself. Thank you again.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to add anything to that. A well put together case. Another comment on the live video said, that's why I'm so disappointed in that Bernard guy, hearing him on another program pertaining to the airport. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, Mr. Mills.
Good morning, Mr. Duncan and Miss Bola.
How are you?
I'm good.
Mr. Mills, what you saying in your mouth? Good morning, Mr. Duncan and Miss Bola. Mr. Mills, why you always looking people for noise?
Mr. Mills alone.
No, I understand. You know, you listen to me. Mr. Bola.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you could make a little mistake.
I know you made a genuine mistake. I was just correcting you.
A genuine mistake?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So how is it otherwise?
We're very good and good to hear your voice. How was your weekend?
It was fantabulous.
Fantabulous. I love that.
What was so fantabulous about your weekend?
Don't get into the man's private affairs.
With somebody.
Oh, you went to the beach, okay.
I'm telling you not to get into that.
Well, I want to know what I had to do to make my weekend fantabulous too.
Mr. Bola, leave her alone.
Yeah, but Mr. Mills, what makes your weekend fantabulous may not be the ideal thing to make Miss Duncan's weekend fantabulous.
That's okay, but it's worth a try.
No, but I say it's alright. That is nothing to me, eh?
To you? All right.
Because you can tell sometimes she might tell me something behind your back which you know.
Papa, oh, she could tell you in front of my back, behind my back anyway. It don't matter me. That's you. I just don't want her to tell you on the radio where the other listeners will have to subject themselves.
One thing on the public radio, I know if you go answer that.
What you want to ask me on the public radio, Mr. Mills?
Coming up on the 1st of April, is that full length?
Yes.
Where?
Yes, it is. That's Friday. Friday,
okay.
Thursday.
So if you make that full with the police, that against the law?
Yeah, the police could arrest you. Don't fool the police.
So why they call it fully?
Well, if I don't fool other people, but not the police.
The police is somebody like anybody, you know?
When they're not in uniform.
Oh, okay. I see.
You see, you realize the police never put the hat down on the ground or anywhere else?
They never put on their hat?
On the ground. They always either have it on their head or you see they hold it in a special way towards the chest.
So they never rest it on a table yet?
Yeah, they may have done that before, but you know, the hat with the crown is what gives them the power that they have.
Okay, I see.
And they need to respect it at all times. And we need to respect them at all times, even when they are out of uniform. But you can... I think you may quicker get away with a little joke when they're out of uniform than when they are in uniform.
So at the time full, if you make a little time full, like nothing?
I don't want to tell you that nothing. I don't think so. I don't think you should try that with the police at all.
So if somebody tell me the commissioner of police calling me and I ain't go,
Well, that's a matter that can be looked at in different ways from different angles.
I will tell them that after there was some fooling me.
Yes, you could tell them that. But I don't think it would be that easy to get away for you to call the police on tomfoolery and tell them about an incident that is happening in a particular place and have them get to that place in quick time. And it was only joking, you were just tomfooling them, as they say. I don't think they will take that lightly. I don't think that the law will excuse you for doing such.
So if I have that on my head, forget it.
Yes. If you're thinking about it, forget it.
Right.
Not with the police. Try it with other people. Try it with me.
Try it with you.
Yes. But
Mr.
not the
Bola.
police. Yes, sir.
Mr. Duncan.
Miss Duncan.
Miss Bola said she need to see you by Sunday. Allow me to cook up a pot.
All right. Well, I'll see Miss Bola on Sunday was to cook up a pot.
So you will go?
Yes.
And I'll go cook all the pot. But chicken she cook in a yard full.
Well, that's good.
You don't see that.
Yard full is the sweetest fall.
Especially in a Brongdon.
Do me a favor, please, now.
Yes, sir.
Come up in Carriacou.
Okay.
And you have a nice day and take care of yourself, Miss Bola.
Miss Duncan, Miss Duncan.
Answer, you are Miss Bola. Just say yes, Mr. Mills. I will have a good day.
Mr. Mills, you have a wonderful day.
You too, and you too as well, eh?
God bless your good soul, sir, and we'll talk again.
I'm listening to you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
All right, very good.
Oh Lord, yeah, Mr. Bola, I think it's important for us to start looking at. I read recently. I want to quote it properly. It says that the hate in your mind can cloud your eyes. The hate in your mind can cloud your eyes. And that is a very profound statement, because it simply means that what you think about somebody can change entirely the way you look at them. What you think about a situation can change entirely how you see that situation. And this is exactly what is happening currently. There are people in the public domain who believe that government have disadvantaged public servants in some way, shape, or form, because that is what they have been told. So they are looking at the situation as if it is a disadvantage to these public servants, not understanding that the only people in all of this that will be disadvantaged are the people who will be affected, that ripple effect that is going to come from one, the airport not being able to open because it's not able to meet its monthly expenditure. Two, the social programs that may be affected as a result of government having to concede, which is I'm not saying is a possibility, but if it hypothetically, if we are speaking.
But it's more than hypothetical. As a matter of fact, it's more than hypothetical, because you have had certain public servants, inclusive of members of the trade unions, who have virtually or actually asked or made reference to the fact that you can cut back on the number of imanis that you now have, that you can cut back on the social programs, send home the traffic wardens and the environmental wardens. So they have looked at programs that they believe government should cut, and it's that they consider. They have gone as far as saying that the traffic lights, which, by the way, are a donation. It is a gift. It is a grant.
Not even the 30. I don't know where they dream up this $13 million.
I don't know where that comes from.
You know where they dream it up? They dreamt it up to try and give structure to their claim that if government can spend $13 million on traffic light, they could pay $13 million a year on salary increases.
For the increases.
Making the general public feel as though government is spending that money. It's a gift.
It's a gift, government, and it's not to that amount.
And it's not to that amount.
So there are so many things that they are asking for that will turn around and hurt the country and the people of the country far worse than it is now.
And funny enough, they're looking at it as just jobs and programs. And
good morning, morning, sir.
Hello.
Hi,
hello.
Good morning.
You're live.
Yes, I just want you to tell the people in Grenada how long they didn't get no pay.
How long they didn't get no pay?
They didn't get no pay. I want you to tell the Grenadian people that they get none for the 4%. I want you to tell the people. how long they didn't get no pay for this and that. Okay?
How long they did? I seem not to understand you clearly.
The years they didn't get pay.
Who is the they?
And that is government.
Well,
years they didn't get pay.
Okay, well.
Who is the they? Hold on.
Tell we the people.
Right. Who is the they that didn't get pay?
The public workers?
Yes, well, who calling for the 4%? Yes, tell the people how long they didn't get no pay.
All right, okay. I think I get what you're saying now.
The years I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, I think it's something that we've discussed before. That he's saying, tell them how many years they did not get pay. Well, they have always been getting pay under this administration.
And on time.
And on time. I think they got paid under the NDC as well, the 2008 to 2013 period.
They got paid.
However, they were getting it late.
Yeah.
And what they did not get during that era was a salary increase.
Yeah, or any increments.
Yes. There was a negotiation that started, I think, around 2010, thereabout. Probably went on for a year and a half, where then there was an agreement to give a salary increase for 1 year. I think it was a 4%.
Right.
For 1 year. And the agreement was to implement it after an election was being held. And that election was held, was it March?
Yes.
Yes, I think it was in 2013. February of 2013.
February 19.
Right. So March it was meant to be implemented.
Yeah.
And it was implemented when the NNP got back into office from that 2013 election. Then you had back pays being paid to the public servant for the many years under the NDC that they did not receive any salary increase. That back pay altogether amounted to some $44 million, which the NNP paid. Now, they couldn't pay it in a one-off. They couldn't find that $44 million and pay it one-off. So they paid it in 3 different tranches. You went into a structural adjustment program and there was a salary freeze for 3 years. But come 2017, negotiation concluded and there was a 10% salary increase for a 10-year period. So 2017, January of 2017, under the NNP again, 3% salary increase came. January of 2018, another 3% salary increase. January of 2019, 4% salary increase. By then, there was negotiation for additional 3 years, 2020, 2021, 2022. January of 2020, they received the 4% because that was a 12% over those 3 years. January of 2029, which is the period we are in now, they were supposed to get another 4%.
2021,
2021, yes. Right. They got 2020 and they should have gotten January of 2021 where we are now. And that is what is creating it. So you had 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. 4 consecutive years of salary increase.
Yeah.
Right? We into 2021 should make it 5 years. Yeah. The government is saying we don't have it right away. We can't implement it in January, but give us a little time. Later down in the year, it will be implemented. And that is what is creating all of the havoc and problem. Now, prior to those 4 consecutive years of salary increase, 2013, when the government came into office for the first time, there was a salary increase of 4%. Then there was a $44 million in back pay. Then you had a salary freeze for 3 years. But at the end of the structural adjustment program, 2 one-off payments were made, gratis kind of payment, where at least $1,000 on each occasion was paid to the public servants. It was not a back pay, it was just a payoff, a one-off payment on 2 separate occasions, $1,000. So if that is what the caller wanted to hear, all those years from 2013 up to 2020, there have been salary increase, in addition to increments being given on an annual basis to the public servants.
Yeah. And I don't think there was a period, there has ever been a period, and I could be corrected, of course, in our history where public workers have not been paid a salary at all. I know there have been late payments, but there's never been, in my knowledge, as I said, I could be corrected, where public servants have not been paid at all. You know, so I hope that helps the caller in his question. We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bulla. Good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Good morning.
How are everything?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Bulla, I know something here I'm looking at as a good leader, an effective leader. I want to be attributed for a good leader. A good leader is supposed to have love and care for, not only for himself, not only care for his children, but love and care for his neighbor. And when I look at the situation with the union leaders, yeah, they're seeking for the client.
You've gone. We're not hearing you at all now.
You hear me? Yeah.
Yes, now it's better.
Other that the government has to look after. The population of Grenada is 110,000.
Yes.
And each and every one, the government has to take care of them. While the union has to take care of its client, with the workers, which also the government has to take care of. I want to say that God created us to love one another and to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. And we should not only think about what we could get for ourselves, but we have to think about others.
Yeah.
Others, because even some of the union leaders, I'm sure they have families that was working in hotels, working in different entities, and they are home. Where the government now have to take care of them. And I see this is unfair, and it's uncaring, and unloving for you to ask him for something that the people who you want to get that money, yes, they're working. We're not saying that they don't deserve it. They deserve it, and the government never said they will not get it. So all what the government is asking for, give us some more time. Give us some more time. When things come back, right, where the government have the money, the government has the money to pay, and you all will get your money. Get your money. And sometimes I say there's sometimes in life people just choose stay away from certain things. In 2008 and 2013, when you have the government was locked down for 6 months, nobody knew what was going on. Salary was paying late. And for the second, for the fourth, for the fifth, for the month, I think from 2008 to 2013, the days of the month was extended. I think they had 21 days, 24, 25 days in a month. Because when you working by the month, you shall get paid on the 34th. So I get paid on the 34th, 25th of the month. And these same people will come back and want to tell the government what to do. When they was in government, they don't know what to do. All they know how to fight and to tear them and tear one another. But you have a government that the people elect, a government that is seeking for each and every one. I want to say to the government, to the people of Great Carriacou Peter Mad, this government is a government that love and care about them. And they are seeking for not only for one set of people, but seeking for all. Seeking for all. Alright? I want to say we Greeners again, let us come together. If we say we love our country, let us come together to build. We go to build and build in unity. Build in one accord. Because when we are divided, making the world look at us as something that the people in Grenada are greedy. They are greedy. But I want to say it to the teachers and public workers union, not all teachers. There are some teachers who are taking part in that. But the union leader especially, they have other motive. And I think the NDC, you all should steal from that, because in 2008 to 2013, you all was there to fight against one another. That's what you all was doing. Close up parliament for 6 months. Pay people late. Tell them place that is not there to pay salary. So I want to say to the Grenadian people, see, a little analyze, and let us care about one another. I don't want to care about ourselves. So, Ms. Duncan, Mr. Bulla, you all have a wonderful day. God bless you.
Okay, and thank you for your comments. We appreciate it.
You know, Mr. Bulla, the Minister of Education made a statement in her national address that it didn't allude to. She outright stated that there was I think it was 2019, that the literacy levels for our children in grades 2 and under were way below what it is supposed to be. I can't remember the exact percentage.
But she said, I think it was an OECS study.
An OECS study, right.
Right, that all of the islands were studied, and that was the findings.
That was the findings, right. And remember, recently I told you we have a literacy problem. And it's only going to get worse, because the problem is not just the grade 2 students, you know. The problem is the adults as well. You have some blind leading the blind. Instead of jumping up in politics and things that are not uplifting, and this is not just for teachers, but parents as well, we need to find ways, and of course the union needs to take this first hand as well and make sure that it is implementing. Gone are the days when we just talk and chalk. You know what talk and chalk is, Mr. Bola?
Being in front of the chalkboard, talking to the students and writing.
Right. Talk and chalk. Gone are those days. We have so many differentiated learning tools that teachers can now utilize, not only to help children learn, but also make them work smarter and not harder.
So that's why silent teaching is also a concept?
No, it's not a concept. That is ridiculous. It is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I don't know how you could silent teach. Tell me how you could silent teach, Mr. Bola. But we have a caller on the line, so we'll get back to that. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello. It was a call on an overseas line, but I'm not getting through. Let me reset the line. All right. Mr. Bola, silent teaching, you cannot silent teach nobody because you must give some form of instruction.
Well, you said the days of talk and chalk is over and there are so many other concepts.
Silent teaching is not one of them.
No, I just was wondering.
It's just an excuse. It's just a fancy coating wrapped in to wrap disgusting behavior. That's what it is. Yeah. But there are so many differentiated learning tools that teachers can use. But also there are so many differentiated learning tools that parents can utilize to help their children. Instead of jumping up on social media and things that don't concern you and your child sit down there suffering and you're supporting the suffering of your child. Figure out ways in which you can help your child to learn. And then at the end of the day, the same parents that's supporting the nonsense that is going on now will turn around and say that the teacher never teach their child. The same parent that call you and say, don't bother with them, don't bother with them, fight for your right. When the end of the semester comes and your child's average is 60 and 50 and 40 and they get a D and an E and a F in reading and your child come home and you wonder, well, what my child going to school to do? It's the same teacher they turn around and blame. See, we have to know where our priorities lie. As parents especially, this is a very trying time for our children. We should not be involving ourselves in this kind of jump up. We should be figuring out ways, Mr. Bola, to find out how we can help our children. They were disadvantaged in 2018. They were disadvantaged in 2019. They're disadvantaged in 2021. And 2020 and in 2021, we come back again with the same disadvantage of our students. So how are you expect things to get better? And the same parents are the ones jumping up and say, oh, you have a right, fight for it. And your child sit down there and can't read. It's really, I mean, these things, Mr. Bola, these things that just ache me. They ache me. Hello, good morning. I think it's the caller's phone, because we are all good here. Hello, good morning. No? Trying to get that overseas line up and running. But Mr. Bola, we have to know what our priorities are. And that is something that upsets me. And when the minister made the statement, you have same teachers who know, and you just know, Mr. Bola, when your student is at a state where they need a little assistance, a little further assistance than they are getting. You just know. If a study was done in the OECS that proves that we have a literacy problem, we have a reading problem, as a teacher, you should not be on social media jumping up about where the minister get those statistics and all of that. You should be making sure that it's not your classroom that she's speaking about. And these things irk me because we are fighting against the wrong things. We are putting our efforts and emphasis. Some of those placards, I see the best writing on them. Beautiful writing, creativity. And you walk into some of these teachers' classrooms and nothing on the walls. Nothing to assist their students. Nothing to help their students enjoy learning. To adapt to the outside world, to integrate it into the classroom. But a whole set of childishness is what they're getting on with on the streets. And these things upset me, especially when I think about what the children are going through.
Mr. Duncan, I hear your passion, but I keep saying to you, do not allow things that you have no control over to upset you. What you need to do, in your own little way, in your own corner, is try to brighten it. Do what you can, wherever you can, whenever you can, to help. Help the students, help the parents, help those who need your assistance. Don't get upset. That's wasted energy. Don't let your energy. No. Don't allow your spirit to be vexed over what other people do.
It's a vexing situation.
You may not like it, and you don't have to celebrate it.
But Mr. Bola, it's not just what other people do, because these things affect us as elderly people in society. When we get older, it will affect us if we don't nip it in the bud early and start talking about it now.
Nipping it would take more than getting angry about it. That's what I'm saying to you.
Okay.
I'm saying the same thing you're saying.
Okay.
I'm saying the energy that you utilize to allow the things to fret your spirit, vex your spirit, use it to do something about changing it.
But it's rather unfortunate. I even heard the president of the Grenada Union of Teachers stating that, he went to the government website and he saw that there were, the government is recording more than they are actually stating that they recorded in revenue collection or revenue generation. And in my opinion, I want to know, who teach this person to teach? Because I'm assuming he's a teacher as well. How can you just put a statement out there and not provide any facts? I want to see where it is. I want to know what the amount is. I want to see where he get that information. I want a rundown of what information he has. Because if government is saying to you that they have collected 50%, but you have proof that they are not collecting, that they are collecting more than 50%, I want to see where they're collecting them.
But I don't think government is saying now that they're collecting 50%.
No.
There was a time when government said
collecting 50.
that they about 60% drop.
Right.
But it continued to improve over time, but gradually, incrementally.
But then we also have to remember that we have been at a negative. We have been at a deficit.
Well, we still are operating at a negative.
So even though you're collecting, you're trying now to meet where you have lost. That is what is happening. You can't go and add to that.
It's like you're in a hole and you're coming up from the hole. The hole is so deep that you're coming up over time. Every month you go a tread higher. But you're still in the hole.
You're still in the hole.
You're not out of the hole as yet.
Yeah.
Someone was saying there on the live that parents really need to do their part and to do more. And I do agree.
I agree.
That we can't just depend totally on government, the ministry, and the teachers.
Hello, good morning.
You're good.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Duncan.
Hi,
and Mr. Bowler.
Good morning, sir.
This is just a call to say thank you for some help that you gave me with a call that I made a while back in reference to registering some companies in Grenada without being able to come down and do it. I don't know if you remember.
Yes, I remember.
It was the height of the pandemic, and it was, we weren't prepared to do a long quarantine. But the help that you gave, I was pleasantly surprised when you actually called me here in Brooklyn to give me the information. And I thank you very much for that. We got in touch with Mount Welldale and the tourism ministry and things like that. And everything is fine. We're going to be down there either the 5th or the 6th of July. And I'm making everybody take the vaccine. We're taking the Moderna here in Brooklyn.
Well, that's wonderful. Wonderful.
So I took mine on the 23rd, which was last week. And I tell everybody, that was my second, and I had no side effects. Well, of course, the part where the needle went in, of course, it's flesh. So, it hurt like hell.
I had my first dose, and I can't say I had the same kind of pain at all. It was really good, smooth sailing right through.
I had both. Yeah. They both hurt, but that was the only thing. There was no other. I hear people talk about fever and headache and this and that. I didn't have any of those. And I like to think that in 2 weeks I will be protected. But anyway, we're gonna be around. We're gonna be down there either the 5th or the 6th of July, and then we will finish up what we started. And by the way, I'd like to tell the world listening that the government of Grenada has done a fantastic job with COVID.
Thank you.
And the people who are saying, well, we only had one death and we this and that, so why are we doing this and that and the other? Somebody once told me that God loves idiots and fools. That's why he made so many of us. So, maybe there is something to that, because if people could look at the world and what's going on right now, and the amount of deaths here in the United States, because we had a, and this is might get me in trouble, but because we had a government that didn't take it seriously, there are 540-something thousand dead people. So Grenada is doing the right thing. It's not everybody's going to agree, but when you're doing the right thing for the good of the company, the country, and the majority of the people, no, all the people, then keep doing it. And like I said, we will be down there around the 5th or the 6th of July.
We look forward to that. Well, we thank you.
I'll be bringing a group of people, the vaccinated ones, because that is the catch. That's like they have to be vaccinated to come.
Great.
But anyway, Ms. Duncan, thank you very much for the effort. And like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect a call back from you.
No.
Well, we rarely ever make promises that we cannot keep.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
I'll give you a little joke before I leave. When I was much younger, a lady made a promise to me. And when I tried to collect on the promise, she said to me, "A promise is a comfort to a fool." So
I wish you not go there. For most of us young men, we had that kind of experience. So let's leave it among us men. Don't share it with the ladies, please don't. Yeah? But thank you anyway for your call. We appreciate that. And continue doing your doing. Encourage as many people as you can. And I hope that those inland in Grenada that have listened to you would recognize that it is important, as we have said, as it relates to vaccine. It's not only for health purposes, but sooner than later it will become something for economic value as well. So, thank you.
Oh, yes. I fully agree.
Yes.
And thank you very much. Once again, Ms. Duncan, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, there we go. Mr. Bola, we're winding down in time. And of course, it would be remiss of us to go through today's program without giving people some encouragement as it relates to the vaccination. Yesterday, actually, I was looking at a live session with Dr. Charles and Senator Cadet and so on that engaged young individuals answering questions. I thought it was a very good session. I'm hoping that the questions that was asked and answered were received in good faith. And that people are now having a better insight as to vaccination and what it can do for you. And I want to keep encouraging people and keep reminding people that the vaccination is important. It's important because it protects you, the individual, from developing any severe disease as a result of COVID. It doesn't protect you from getting COVID, and I want people to understand that, because the question out there is always, well, why are we taking the vaccine if we are still going to get COVID?
Still get COVID? Yes,
the point of taking it is so that you don't develop any severe disease, things like MIS, things like heart disease, things like thrombosis, things like kwashiorkor, things like pneumonia. These things, you don't develop these severe diseases as a result of getting COVID. COVID will always be around because it's a virus. It lingers, and it needs us to transport from one person to the other. And the more of us that is vaccinated means the less likely it is to be transmissible, because there isn't going to be enough viral load developed in the body for it to be transmissible from one person to the other. And that's what we hope to achieve with herd immunity. But until we get to that point, we have to continue social distancing. We have to continue quarantine. We have to continue washing our hands. We have to continue just taking into consideration those regulations that are put in place to prevent a massive outbreak of COVID-19 and the possibility of hundreds of our Grenadian mothers and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and children from dying from COVID or having some long-term medical effect from COVID that we would have to spend a lot of money that we do not have on. So I want to keep encouraging people. And for the people out there who say, oh, well, we have heard that people are dying as a result of taking the vaccine, you have to keep remembering that people have been dying before COVID. People will continue to die after COVID, getting the vaccine does not give you immortality. It does not say, well, I will never die because I'm vaccinated. I'm not still going to have diabetes, so I don't have to take my metformin. I'm not still going to have high blood pressure, so I don't have to take my Bezide. I'm not going to still be obese, so I have to exercise and diet to get my weight down. It's not saying that. It's just saying that I am protected from at least one less thing that can kill me, you know? So I want to encourage people.
Well, it's not really one less thing, it's many things. Because what COVID does is weaken your immune system, which leave you exposed to catch any other kind of sickness. Or if you already had, that's what they call underlying issues. It amplifies the underlying issues. So it's not one less thing you won't die from. It's several of those. By taking the vaccine, it puts your immune system in a charged and stronger position. And then you have some people say, well, you know, what about eating our veggies? And of course, those things do help strengthen your immune system as well. But the COVID is a quicker, not the COVID, but the vaccine is a quicker way. It's a shot that goes right there and you know, pumps your immune system at the same time. After that, we still need to maintain eating the right foods, getting exercise, sufficient rest, reduce our intake of alcohol, all of those prerequisite things.
Because guess
we need to continue to do them.
Because guess what? When you get the virus, right? When you get COVID or at whatever point in your life you get COVID, if your immune system is not strong enough, you will still feel the effects, the lower symptoms like the fever and the headache and like you catch a flu. The only thing is that it's not going to get to a severe point where you have to be hospitalized, but you're still gonna get sick if your immune system isn't strong enough. So you still have to maintain, as you said, doing all of the things that you should do to, you know, get your immune system up and running.
It's like you get a head start. The vaccine gives you a head start.
Absolutely. That's the best way to put it, actually. And protecting
yourself. But we have to continue to be very particular and take precautions and follow. You know, I mean, it's just about being more hygienic in terms of washing our hands more often, because we took a lot of things for granted that we should not be taking for granted. You know, and for those of us who have been talking about, well, when they bring, I've heard people say, oh, well, when they bring another kind, it's only AstraZeneca. Why only AstraZeneca? We will soon, I think, as a matter of fact, next week, if I'm not mistaken, from what the Ministry of Health had said, we should be getting two other kinds of vaccine.
The Sputnik from Russia,
which is from Russia,
and the Sinopharm,
from China. The region, in fact, it's not just Grenada. And let me make that absolutely clear. The region will be getting 1 million doses of each. The Chinese and the Russian. So the Sputnik is the Russian, the Sinopharm is the Chinese, and it will be shared up. So every island, I think, within the region
would get.
So I think Grenada is down to get about 20,000 doses of each of them. And I would hope that people who felt, well, you know, I had some fear or something about AstraZeneca, now you would have a choice in the next week and a half or 2 weeks. To use either one of the other or the other. And I know, like I've said earlier on, that the officials and those tasked with that responsibility is making arrangements trying to get other types. I've heard people talk about the Cubans are making. Yes, they are. And they were saying, why can't we? Well, of course, those that is being made by the Cubans have not yet been officially recognized.
It's going through the third phase now, which is the trial phase.
Right. Well, they have been doing trials already in Iran, for example. They are using the Cuban vaccine in Iran.
Oh, wow.
COVID has reaped havoc on them there. So they decided, even before getting approval, that they are going to use it. So all of these results, when the WHO and so look at it and analyze it, we're very hopeful. Someone did say, and that is not official, but someone did say, they think maybe by the middle of the year. So we're looking June, July, thereabout, that the Cuban vaccine may get approval. Well, we'll see to that. And if that happens, I see no reason why the government of Grenada will not try to bring in some of those as well, you know, once it's been approved. Because the minister had said very early that we are only going to use vaccines that has been approved by the international health organizations. Yes? So, friends, we really don't have an excuse, you know. Some of us are just listening to a lot of hearsay.
Yeah.
So we encourage people to read more, inquire more, find out, get your facts. Don't just take what we tell you here on Hard Talk. Don't just listen to what another friend tell you. Or don't just read something on Facebook and take it lock, stock, and barrel. Do your own research. Find out. Ask people who have been involved in it. I mean, the world over, maybe 500 million people by now have received vaccine the world over. There have been no death associated or attributed to the vaccine. There was this talk about blood clot. The research was done, and they cannot attribute it to the vaccine anyway. You know? And the international community have been saying that the vaccines are safe. We have our own skepticism. Yes, fine. We have our own thought process. We ask questions. Seek answers for your question. But stop behaving in a manner like, you know, Grenadians are the only people that don't have plenty sense. We have a lot of sense, and I would hate for people to get that impression about us. But our behavior is what will send those kind of signals.
Yeah.
So let's be sensible in what we do, what we say, and how we do it. I'm not telling you go eye closed or eye band, blindfolded to just do anything. I'm saying open your eyes, your ears. You have those of us who are unable to operate the devices and to go onto social media or and inquire and to get facts. We have children. We have grandchildren. And I tell you, these children these days, they're born with a technical brain.
Yes, they are.
I mean, things that I am unable to do. I see little 5 and 6 year old pulling up the phone and doing all kind of thing and fixing and getting all kind of thing for you. Let's use them. Let them get the information, read it out to us. Try to ask your doctor's question, ask your health professional, go to the health center, have a discussion with your nurses or your doctor or whoever it is, where you can get conviction. Don't take only what I say, but it is necessary. As a matter of fact, just to close, already the cruise liners, the cruise ship, whom we miss very much, people have to admit that. The farmers miss them. The vendors who sell the little craft and the spices miss them. The restaurants and so miss them. The taxi drivers miss them because the source of income has vanished as a result. Now they start making calls. When I say that, I mean the authorities start going into countries and discussing. They have had discussions with the authorities here in Grenada already. But here is what. They say they will ensure that every member of staff on those vessels are fully vaccinated before they return. They will make sure that all passengers getting onto the vessels are vaccinated before they can accept them. But here, what is the third thing? They want to ensure that before they book to pull up at a port in any country, that the majority of the people in that country, inclusive of the taxi drivers and the vendors, are vaccinated, or else we will get left.
Yeah.
So when I said that vaccination will not only be a thing for medical protection, but it will also mean your economic survival. These are the things that I'm talking about. And this is not a rule that the government of Grenada has made. It is not a rule that the region has put in place. It is what the cruise liners are demanding.
Yeah.
That in order to return, they would want to be assured that the people who are going to interact with the passengers and workers are fully vaccinated and will not be able to spread the COVID-19. Friends, let us consider what we're doing, because we may be hurting ourselves and our people without understanding that. Please think twice before we act. I wish you all have a very wonderful day today. I have come to the end of my stint. I don't know what Ms. Duncan has to do again. We shall meet again. It was a pleasure being on air and speaking to you today.
Absolutely. And I actually have nothing else to say, but we have come to the end of our program for today. Guys, in whatever you do and whatever you say, be safe and be secure. We always want to be talking with you, but we don't ever want to be talking about you. So please do enjoy the remainder of your day and stay tuned for the national report. It's been wonderful, guys.
Grenada to begin administering second dose of AstraZeneca vaccine after 10 weeks. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Friday, March 26, 2021, I am Abigail McIntyre. The initial plan was to have the second dose of AstraZeneca vaccine administered 6 weeks after the first dose. However, Grenada has now taken the decision to administer the second dose after 10 weeks. Community health nurse Audrey Lyons, who is in charge of the expanded program on immunization for Grenada, told the GIS the wait period for the second dose was 8 weeks. However, she says reviews from the World Health Organization indicates that the efficacy of the vaccine is best administered after 10 to 12 weeks. So far, more than 9,000 Grenadians have received their first dose.
Based on the WHO recommendation, they recommended that the second dose, once it's closer to 12 weeks, the efficacy is much better. So Grenada has taken a stand that at 10 weeks, we're going to vaccinate persons with the second dose. So initially, on the 12th of February, we advised persons that they was going to be vaccinated 6 weeks thereafter. But after following up with the WHO, we advised persons that they will be vaccinated closer to the 12-week mark. So Grenada will be vaccinating persons with the second dose at 10 weeks because the efficacy is much better at 10 to 12 weeks.
To adequately inform about the extension of the time before receiving the second dose, the Ministry of Health launched a sensitization campaign on Friday. Nurse Lyons says for those who need to travel or choose to stick with the original time frame, the vaccine will be administered.
As for today, we're going to be putting out a bulletin via social media, radio, television, and so to inform persons that they can have the vaccine at 10 weeks. If you need to travel or so within the 8-week period, the date that you got before the 10-week, you're free to do so because WHO recommendation you can get it between 4 to 12 weeks of getting the vaccine. So we advise 10 weeks. However, if you need to travel before, once it's after 4 weeks, you can get the vaccine. You can get it at any of the health facilities. You just call them, let's say, about a few days or a week before, so you can have an appointment, and then you can get a vaccine at any one of the health facilities.
From inline to online is the tagline guiding the relaunch of the Inland Revenue's online platform. During a launch ceremony on Friday at the Ministry of Finance, officials from the IRD spoke of the new and improved services being offered online. In 2013, the government of Grenada, through the eGrip program, launched a platform to assist in making doing business at the IRD easier and efficient. But over the last 6 years, the site has been unable to adequately meet the needs of customers. This was revamped by the IRD, and now customers can use the new site to register, file declarations, and pay taxes. Deputy Comptroller of the Inland Revenue Division, Randy Cadet, says this is the premier site for taxpayers.
Persons have been using that pay.gov site as 1, 2, 3. It's safe, it's convenient, it's reliable. We in Inland Revenue had no other choice but to use a COVID experience to get people, as the PRO said, out of the lines and get them more online. So we are here to encourage the use of our e-services, and we are also here to promote and to ensure that persons kind of buy in to what we are trying to do in Inland Revenue. We believe in the division that as we make tax paying more easily accessible, as we encourage persons to use the devices to pay their license fees and to pay their taxes, we in turn will see an improvement in compliance. Because we are not just here to collect that is due or what is due to the government. We are also here to encourage compliance.
Customers can log on to ird.gd, which is the official website to access the pay.gov.gd and taxservice.gov.gd websites to do business from the comfort of their homes or workplaces without enduring the hassle of long lines and long waits. Senior Tax Inspector Joel Johnson explains how it's done.
Website is pay.gov.gd. You select make a payment. Then you have a variety of categories to choose from, whether it is your vehicle license, vehicle inspection, your driver's license, the property taxes, even your COVID-19 test. Those of you wishing to come back to Pure Grenada, you could pay for your COVID-19 test online. So you select the category, you select what you're paying for. For example, if it's a vehicle you're paying for, you enter the vehicle registration number, you enter your last name, and the information pops up quite easily, and you make a payment. The fantastic thing about this site is you could pay for more than one vehicle using one checkout. So you can add another vehicle and continue making the payments. Tax Services website. This one has, like Mr. Cadet would have said, has been up for a while, but right now you are going to be using it to register and file your income taxes online. So to file your income taxes online, you must first create a user account. So when you go to the website, which is taxservices.gov.gd, you go to the website and you're going to select the tab that asks you to register new user. If you do not yet have a username, ensure you register as a new user. Once you click the tab to register as a new user, the form is going to populate on your screen, which will require you to enter your personal information. Like I said, the information will be safe, so feel free to enter your full name, your last name, your date of birth, of course. It will also ask you to upload a form of ID. So please enter the information as it is on your ID or as it is in our tax accounts here at Inland Revenue.
Overall, the aim is to alleviate the hassle and cost involved in submitting and filing paper-based documents, while at the same time curbing the administrative burden for the staff of the Inland Revenue Division.
No longer will we rely heavily on paper. We are moving to ensure that this division, this Inland Revenue Division, is a more modernized tax administration where persons can interact with us from wherever they are. And as I said before, this is a big deal for us. This relaunch and this promotion is a massive splash for us. And we really want to encourage Grenadians to make full use of the devices, of use of the services, that are being provided by your Inland Revenue Division.
The IRD has plans for making some of their other services electronic, like sending out demand notices via email. Minister for Sports, Culture and the Arts, Fisheries and Cooperatives, the Honorable Yolande Bain-Hosford, says her government is committed to ensuring that Grenada's National Stadium remains intact for local athletes to prepare themselves for the international stage and compete at a first-class facility. Her commitment was made during a visit to the Carriacou Athletic Stadium on Thursday, March 25th, to witness firsthand the progress of the maintenance work undertaken by the People's Republic of China. In September 2020, the People's Republic of China donated over 9 containers of engineering materials valued at 1.5 million EC dollars to the government of Grenada. The materials were for maintenance and repair work on the Carriacou Athletic Stadium as part of the China Aid Technical Cooperation Project. GIS spoke with Minister Yolande Bain-Hosford, who said that she is pleased with what has been accomplished to date.
So far, it seems good. I'm impressed with some of the work that has been done. The sound system, the sound room, where all the coordination is taking place. The new equipment that was replaced by the old ones. The old ones were replaced by the new equipment. I'm pleased with that. The VIP lounge and the other rooms that the changes are made with the tiles and the flooring, etc. I think it's well done. I think the stadium looks much better now than it was before, because there was a lot of things that were unsightly. And by taking that tour this morning, I think they have done quite a bit and a good job, and I'm impressed with the level of work that was done within that period of time. We have to thank the Chinese government for the hard work and dedication and the support they have given us over the years and continue to give us the support. I know their heart is in the right place when coming to the stadium because that's one of the main projects here in Grenada. So we're happy with the level of work and we are pleased with the support that they continue to give us here in Grenada.
Coordinator of Sports Cullen Peters says the Chinese must be commended for the work they have done so far. He highlighted some of the work that has been done by the Chinese Technical Corporation.
What I have seen here, what we have done basically, not only the internal structure and on the walls and tiles have been changed, but also some of the windows, some of the system, the AC system, all that needed to be repaired and maintained. What we have done since December, we had started working on the outfield. There was some problem with the outfield. I think there's a long-term plan for the refurbishment or the improvement of the surface. But so far, we have done some work to make sure that when our Spice Boys come back to play against the U.S. Virgin Islands next week Tuesday, that they are comfortable and they get a victory on our surface. So we keep working and make sure not only in the stadium, in the outer fields, to make sure that within this time of lockdown, within this time of restriction, we do some maintenance on our facility. We do some upgrading and resurfacing of our playing fields. The work will continue to make sure that the surface improves so that the quality of the players could also be improved also.
According to project manager Zhang Zifu, work is 50% complete. This is the National Report. The news continues after the break. And finally in the news, students of the Telescope Primary School are among the first batch of primary school students to receive their e-learning devices being distributed by the Ministry of Education. We get more details in this report from Annette Moore, Public Relations Officer in the Ministry of Education, Human Resource Development and Information.
Parents and guardians of students came to receive the students' e-learning devices and were thoroughly informed about the contract and expectations for the care and use of the device. Several recipients expressed their satisfaction at having received the learning device. Ayana Best came with her younger sister Nishwa to collect her sister's device. Best says this is Nishwa's first personal e-learning device.
No, she didn't have one before, and during the lockdown one of the devices actually broke, so we had to fix it. So during the lockdown we usually had to do it either on my phone or on my mom's computer.
Best thinks the device will be very helpful for her sister.
It would at least give her a fair advantage when she's in school, now that she has her own tablet, especially since we're not sure when they'll be fully back into in-person classes. So at least now she will at least have the opportunity to more or less be on the same playing field with everybody.
Abiola John is in grade 5 and very excited to receive her device. She came in with her grandmother to collect it.
My name is Abiola John and I am 10 years old. I feel excited. I plan to use the tablet for online schoolwork and for education, so I can learn that when I come back to school, I'm ready for the tests.
Abiola's grandmother says that although her granddaughter had a device during the COVID-19 lockdown period last year, it was an old computer which has since stopped working. Therefore, receipt of this device is timely.
This one she have will help her very much because she loves to read and she loves to experiment, so I believe this will do her very good in her education. And I thank wherever source it comes from. We thank the government for it very much, which we thank God that this continue to be, because in this era, this is what they really need for them to go forward with their education. So we thank very much. We thank very much for it.
Principal at the Telescope Primary School, Anne-Marie Shares, is pleased that her school is one of the first recipients and looks forward to the benefit of students having their own devices.
I'm feeling elated at the moment because I am very happy for the students. We had a big challenge during the lockdown. Our students was very hard to reach, but now with everybody, all the teachers have their laptops and the students with the tablet. That's a great asset to the school. The children would be able to do their projects, they would be able to do research and everything else on the laptop and tablet, so that's a great asset for us. We are forever grateful to the Ministry of Education.
More than 11,000 devices will be distributed to public primary school students. All kindergarten to grade 5 students will receive a device. 11 schools will receive these e-learning devices prior to the upcoming vacation break, with distribution continuing in the Trinity term. Parents can make payments for the devices at the district revenue offices. The cost is $25 if students are already part of the Ministry of Education's textbook program, and $50 if they are not. Provision of devices to primary school students comes at a cost of US $2.3 million. Phase 1 of the e-learning program included the provision of devices to teachers and students, while Phase 2 involved the distribution of laptop computers to all teachers. For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
Thank you, Annette. And that story brings us to the end of the National Report for today, Friday, March 26, 2021. To recap the top story, Grenada to begin administering second dose of AstraZeneca vaccine after 10 weeks. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Abigail McIntyre. Thank you for joining us.